Hello everybody and welcome to video message number 41. Instead of being in a tiger cage today, I'm in the downtown area of Oklahoma City. Thanks to Carole Baskin of dragging us all out of bed this morning and sticking my mom at the very top of that building right there in order to fuck with her. It's amazing you can keep harassing an 81-year-old lady. Just kind of shows that you really are an evil bitch and you have deserved the karma that's fixing to come your way one of these days. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about Chase and what really goes on in this country. You go to buy something on a credit card and they're charging you 19 to 29% interest, and you put some money in the savings account, and what do? They give you a 0.5% interest to borrow your money. And why? So they can have buildings like that to come to work in on your hard-earned money. So it's kind of come out to be the American way, and that is to screw the little guy so the big guys can keep on getting bigger. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this ISIS thing that's going on in France, ladies and gentlemen. You know, this morning on the Today Show, they're saying that they might have been able to communicate through PlayStation and video games by sending text messages while you're playing an online game. You know, the only thing I got to say to that is, you got what you deserve, pretty much, really, for letting video games kind of take over children, adults, and there ain't anybody got a damn bit of common sense anymore because they sit in front of a video game all day long. Now, let me explain to you how those text messages in between those video games affect you, the normal American person sitting in your house. Meanwhile, while mom and dad's cooking dinner and making the money, the kids are sitting in front of a TV screen, or now they're on their telephone with this app thing that you can download and play all these war video games and all this shit. But you know, the sad part is, and it's filtered its way into my house, that's how come there is no internet in my home anymore, you can actually start sending nude pictures through those same text messages. So, you know, the only people that you got to blame for this is the people that create all this, and most of those are abroad people setting the world up for failure, just the way it has. If they can communicate through a PlayStation or a video app, and they can decide where to blow things up and how to kill people in real life, I would think it's about time that somebody made it that you can no longer build an app like that and sell it that has any kind of a chat preference on that video game. The first time that I ever realized that that was going on in my house, of people sending nude photographs through the video games like that when they can talk to each other from all over the world and nobody has any clue of who anybody is. I took a sledgehammer to the fucking satellite dish out in my backyard, and that is exactly how come we don't have computers or satellite in my house. So I got a couple of messages last night of how come I'm not endorsing Bernie Sanders or Ted Cruz. You know, I really have nothing against old Bernie. The only thing I'm concerned about Bernie is whether or not the old cadre can stay alive long enough to work out a presidential term. But, you know, the only thing that I disagree with Bernie Sanders is the minimum wage thing that he's trying to get to $15 an hour. You know, as an employer of people in this country, I don't know too many people that are worth $15 an hour. I don't know how many of you have went through a Taco Bell or a McDonald's or a fast food restaurant, but hell, they can't even count change, or now they've got machines that fill the soda pop cans for them, so they don't even have to get ice and fill a soda pop thing in. Have you ever had an order actually come out right through a drive-through window and you think they're worth $15 an hour? Bernie, I'd love to endorse you, but over that $15 an hour thing right there, I'd just have to say that all you're going to do is fuck up America even more than it already is. People are too damn lazy to get out there and get a job. That's the problem. It's not that they're not getting paid to do a job. It's they don't want to work. And the more you hand these people, the lazier they're going to get. Oh, Governor Kasich. Now there's you a prick. You know, I put a post on Facebook last night of him riding a sled being pulled by dogs. And the problem that I have with that is, you know, if that was me, having dogs pull me on a sled, I'd have PETA, the Humane Society, so down my throat it wouldn't even be funny. But you know, Kasich thinks that he can get away with anything he wants, whether it's abuse or it's not abuse, to just have a sled dog pulling a sled. But the point that I was trying to make is, you know, he can do it and nobody fucks with him, with the animal rights people. Why? Because they're all in his pocket. Now, if you was to tie 3 dogs to a sled and pull them down the street, I'm sure that PETA, the Humane Society of the United States, would damn sure have something to say about you doing it. And that's a problem with people like Kasich trying to run for president of the United States, is they're taking either payoffs or they're in somebody's pocket. And nothing's fair about anything anymore. It's who you know and who you blow. And then during some of the text messages I got last night, they wanted me to call out Ted Cruz and Hillary Clinton. And I really ain't got too much to say about Ted Cruz, but Hillary Clinton, woman, you're the last thing that we need in this country is a president of the United States. You know, first thing is you're accepting campaign money from the exact countries that we're all fighting. So why the hell would we want you in part of that? And here's a real quick picture of exactly where she's getting that money from. Okay, so another thing that you really got to ask yourself is, we're fighting and picking arguments with all of these terrorists such as ISIS and everybody else. The big question is why in the hell are we putting up with it? Why don't we just go over there and blow the shit up, come home and call it a day? Instead, we go over there and we blow it up, we rebuild it, we give them the shit back, and what do we got? 10 years later, we're still dealing with the same motherfuckers that want to start a war. So you got to ask yourself, what the hell's going wrong with our world? You know, between the interest rates, fucking the American public fighting over abroad, blowing people up in France, and then they come up with 168 arrests as of this morning, and this thing ain't even been going on more than a couple of days. Now, you got to ask yourself, what intelligence organization knew of 168 people that was affiliated with all this? And they made those arrests, but they couldn't prevent what was going on? That's total bullshit. But anyway, here in America we have our own war. It's between the animal rights people and the terrorists that they are and the people who love their animals. And Mr. Kasich over there in Ohio is probably one of the biggest leaders of this war that's been waged against us. Another person is good old Carole Baskin down there in Tampa, Florida. You know, that bitch ain't got no heart, and she is so into bullying people that she's actually bullying my 81-year-old mother today and using a federal court in order to do that. And that alone should be criminal. So let's put them all out of business and let's win this war and expose some of this bullshit that's going on. It's not her money that she's spending, it's your money that you're donating to animals to help take care of animals, and she's blowing it on frivolous lawsuits and depositions in a 33-floor building with 3 high-powered lawyers that I am sure is costing her at least $1,000 a piece an hour in order to do this. So, before you dig into your pocket and give her any more money, why don't you start asking the bitch some questions? Like, why in the fuck are you even messing with Joe's 81-year-old mother? If you want to take this out on somebody, take it out on me, bitch, because this war is between me and you. The rest of this war is between the American people and the animal rights people. And we ain't gonna sit down and we ain't gonna shut up. And we damn sure ain't gonna go away. I've been asking all the presidential candidates 6 questions for the last couple of days, and we're gonna ask you those very same 6 questions right now. Here in America, we have a war in the animal world and the animal rights people in order to take our rights away, and 62.8 million people here in America own pets, and we'd like to know your comments and your concerns about a few issues. Question number 1. How do you feel about 501c3 organizations here in America that are scamming the public for hundreds of millions of dollars to take care of animals, and none of it goes to the animals? 90% of it goes to lobbyists to pass laws to further their agenda. 2, it seems like terrorist is the #1 topic anytime you turn the news on anymore. Are you aware that our own government, the United States Department of Agriculture, declared PETA a #1 domestic terrorist in the United States on November the 30th, 2009, and they're still a nonprofit tax organization here in America? How can you be a terrorist and get a tax break from your own country right here in America? 3, we'd like to know your opinion on how you feel on online bullying not only of children, but adults, in the name of free speech, in order to bash somebody and ruin their reputation and their good name, only to make money for yourself and get away with it under the Declaration of Free Speech. 4, we'd like to know, how come us Americans that own our own property, own our own houses, and pay taxes on them do not have the right to have our own pets that we choose to have on our property or in our homes? Number 5, do you not think that we Americans have the right to assume the risk of our profession, no different than a cop, a firefighter, an oil rig worker, or anyone else that has the assumption of the risk of their professions? It is our right. And please, if you become president, give us back our right. And number 6, one of the most important, and this kind of touched on your speech at the Oklahoma State Fair about things being made in other countries and taxing them when they come into America. Do you not believe that it should be a right that any product made from the rainforest or an animal's habitat somewhere in the world should be taxed in order to be sold in America, and that tax money go back to helping rebuild the habitat and the rainforest so some of these animals don't become extinct in the futures to come? I'm Joe Exotic, and along with 62.8 million other people, we'd like to know if you have any answers for any of this. And you wouldn't believe the support you would get. But this war on American citizens and their animals has got to come to a stop. So, Bernie Sanders, if you want to have that 30-minute sit-down meeting, let's get that thing organized. Trump, you better get off your ass, mister, because whoever sits down with me for the first 30 minutes is going to get all of these people to support them. Decision's yours, people, because we're not going to lay down and take this anymore. My name is Joe Exotic, and I'll see you tomorrow for video message number 42.